34 years after the events of the Karate Kid, Johnny Lawrence, down on his luck, meets Miguel Diaz, his new neighbor. Johnny later intervenes when Miguel gets into a fight with some classmates after school as they push the kid onto his car. Upon seeing this, Miguel asks Lawrence to teach him karate. After receiving a check from Sid, his stepdad, Johnny's car is driven into. His car is sent to LaRusso Auto, where he begrudgingly meets Daniel for the first time in years. It was Sam, Daniel's daughter, that was present during the accident. Johnny uses the check to open up a Cobra Kai dojo, taking on Miguel, becoming his sensei. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Big Screen Movies for my initial thoughts and reviews on the latest TV shows and movies. If you want more in-depth thoughts, random clips, questions, discussion, and sneak previews for my latest videos, check out my TikTok. The links are in the description. Daniel has come a long way since he first met Mr. Miyagi, now owning successful car dealerships across the city. On his way to work, he sees Johnny's new dojo, horrified. Daniel invites Sam's boyfriend Kyla around for dinner, discovering that Johnny had beaten him and some friends up not long ago. Daniel enters the Cobra Kai dojo, warning Johnny, whilst Miguel makes some friends at school in Eli and Dimitri. Johnny needs to make some money to keep the dojo open, and so goes around town putting up flyers. He's caught at the school dance by Daniel, worried about Sam. Miguel is once again beaten up by Kyla after overhearing his true intentions with Sam. Johnny finds Miguel, taking him home. Robby, Keene, Johnny's son, finds a discarded flyer on the street after stealing a laptop from an electronics store. Meanwhile, Sam discovers what Kyla is up to and how he treats Miguel, breaking it off. Not wanting to screw up his second chance, as he did with Robby, Johnny pleads for Miguel to be allowed back to train. Johnny gets a second student, Aisha, best friend of Sam LaRusso. At school, Miguel stands up to Kyla after he spreads rumours about Sam, coming out on top. Proud, Johnny gifts Miguel his first gi when training for the All Valley tournament. Unbeknownst to Johnny, his son turns away with jealousy, witnessing this, getting a job at LaRusso Auto to get back at him. Wanting to find balance once again, Daniel clears out his old dojo. Business is booming after Miguel's display at the school, however it is mostly comprised of nerds. Recognizing the conflict in Robby, Daniel decides to train him, helping him also to find balance. After the first lesson, Johnny's class has significantly decreased. One that returned was Eli, now Hawk. Miguel manages to find the confidence and asks Sam out, with Johnny managing to get Cobra Kai unbanned from the All Valley tournament. Finding out about Sam, Johnny tells Miguel about his history with Daniel and how he stole Ali from him. Knowing about her father's history with his sensei, Sam tries to persuade Miguel to leave. Meanwhile, Johnny is set on trying to turn his life around for Miguel. Wanting to meet her parents, Miguel visits Sam, finding her talking and joking around with Robby. Meanwhile, Johnny finds Louis, Daniel's cousin, destroying his car after he vandalized a LaRusso Auto ad. Angry, Johnny confronts Daniel. Before they can fight, Daniel's wife Amanda persuades them to sit down and talk, with Daniel offering a temporary car until his is fixed. They begin to bond a little, realizing they're not too dissimilar. Sam is grounded after Johnny reveals she wrecked his car the first time, with Miguel not being too happy about being ghosted. Robby sneaks Sam out, going to a Cobra Kai party, where Miguel, drunk and jealous, accidentally hits Sam. Daniel and Johnny go back to Daniel's dojo, where they find Robby. Both feeling betrayed, they all fall out again. Robby arrives at the All Valley tournament under no dojo name, eventually meeting Hawk in the semi-finals. Hawk is disqualified after cheating, injuring Robby. Recognizing he was in the wrong, Daniel apologizes to Robby, helping to coach him in the final. Seeing Miguel fight dirty, Johnny can't help but remember when Kreese told him to win at all costs, not liking the similarities. Diaz eventually wins, with Johnny apologizing to his son. Sam enters the dojo for the first time in years, whilst Robby is taken to the Miyagi-Do dojo, not wanting to let Cobra Kai take over the valley. Meanwhile, Johnny is visited by a familiar face, Kreese. If this video is not your cup of tea, check out this video on John Kreese's timeline and recap, or perhaps the complete timeline and recap of Boba Fett. If not, try out who actually owns Spider-Man. All this time, Johnny believed Kreese to be dead. He shows his old sensei mercy, not wanting to be like him. Daniel and Robby work to fix the Miyagi-Do dojo up as Hawk and Dimitri grow apart. Kreese apologizes to Johnny by gifting him the second place trophy he had broken all those years ago. Johnny allows Kreese to observe a lesson, quickly becoming embarrassed by his students. Spending so much time at the dojo teaching Robby and Sam, Daniel starts losing staff at the dealership. He offers Robby a place to stay with his mum away for 2 weeks. Kreese is slowly gaining Johnny's trust until they are confronted by Daniel, who wanted to speak with Johnny about his son. Miguel discovers Robby's relationship to Johnny and so why he all of a sudden began preaching mercy. Seeing an ad for Miyagi-Do karate, Johnny retaliates with his own. Being confronted about Robby, Johnny simply explains he wants Miguel to be better than he ever was. At Valley Fest, Cobra Kai gatecrash Miyagi-Do's demonstration in a bid to get more students. Dimitri enters Cobra Kai only to find Kreese quickly being put off. Daniel decides to recruit new students by talking to the parents. Meanwhile, one of Cobra Kai's new students is Tori, who already can handle herself quite well. Johnny finds Kreese staying in a shelter, deciding to give him a proper second chance. Amanda's purse is stolen, with Daniel saving Robby from the ones who took it, old friends of his. Sam accuses Tori, however, who befriends Aisha. Miyagi-Do gains one more student by the end of the day, Dimitri. Dimitri is an awful student, with Hawk going after him as he leaves a bad review for Cobra Kai. Meanwhile, Sam and Robby have gotten close over the summer, as Tori and Diaz do also. Influenced by Kreese, Hawk trashes the Miyagi-Do dojo, stealing Mr. Miyagi's Medal of Honor. Johnny gets a call finding out Tommy, an old friend, is terminally ill, going on a camping trip with the old gang before dying in his sleep. Kreese pays Daniel a visit, telling him a war is coming. His relationship with Amanda is strained as the dojo is taking more and more time away from the business. Johnny sees Diaz falling down a dark path, showing no mercy as he beats Hawk, taking back the Medal of Honor, returning it to Robby, who hides it in the dojo. Johnny tells Kreese to go, not wanting his influence near his students. Johnny tells his students that sometimes there is honor in showing mercy. Johnny is slowly getting closer to Carmen, Miguel's mum, but accidentally sends Ali a message. Meanwhile, Tori and Sam continue their rivalry. Robby's mum returns, telling him she's going to rehab, whilst he stays with the LaRussos. Johnny takes Carmen out to dinner, meeting Daniel and Amanda there, eventually starting to bond somewhat as Johnny tells him that Kreese is gone. With all dojos going to a party, drunk, Miguel and Sam kiss, with Tori seeing as Dimitri embarrasses Hawk. Robby takes Sam to Johnny, not wanting the LaRussos to see them in this state. They stay the night, with Daniel kicking down the door demanding to know where they are. Daniel takes Sam home, with Robby staying with his dad. At school, a fight starts out between Sam and Tori, followed by the rest of Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. Dimitri defeats Hawk and Sam defeats Tori, not without gaining a few scars. Miguel, following his sensei's advice, shows Robby mercy. Robby takes advantage of this, kicking Miguel over the balcony. Robby goes on the run, with Carmen blaming Johnny for everything. He returns to the dojo, only to find Kreese has returned. He made a deal, he now owns the dojo. 2 weeks pass, Robby is still on the run and the LaRusso name is tarnished. After the fight, Aisha was moved to a private school, and on her first day back, Sam has a panic attack. Louis tells Daniel that they are missing a car, finding the tracker, but no car or Robby. Meanwhile, Miguel is in a coma fighting someone in his head, with Johnny visiting him, telling him to fight through this. Daniel visits Johnny, telling him he has a lead on Robby as Miguel wins his fight and wakes up. It's 1965 and the diner worker Kreese is being bullied, picking up a leaflet for the army. Meanwhile, in present day, Kreese loses the weaklings in the dojo. Daniel and Johnny manage to get a lead, finding the car, but no Robby again. Back in 1965, Kreese fights back against the bullies, protecting a young woman called Betsy. Kreese gives Tori's creep of a landlord a visit, threatening him as she returns to the dojo. Miguel is paid a visit by Johnny, telling him he may never walk again, blaming him for everything. Robby visits his mum at rehab, who calls Daniel, who calls the police, wanting the best for him. Back in 1965, Kreese leaves Betsy to go and join the army. With sales low, a rival dealership wants to buy LaRusso Auto. Cole, the owner, convinced Diona to cut ties with LaRusso. Robby is getting into trouble in juvie, whilst his dad tries getting a job to help pay for Miguel's surgery. He lets Robby down, missing a meeting with him as he stays for Miguel. Amanda and Daniel refuse to sell, travelling to Japan, Tokyo, to meet with Diona in person. Daniel's presentation didn't work. Daniel decides to take a trip to Okinawa, noticing a big difference as he notices an old face, Kamiko. Johnny visits Robby during his community service, getting into a fight as he chose Miguel over him. Kreese tries to manipulate Johnny into coming back to Cobra Kai, but is instead warned to stay away from Miguel. Johnny visits Miguel, telling him he'll always be his teacher. Failing with Johnny, Kreese visits Robby. Talking with Kamiko, Daniel turns around, finding himself face to face with Chozen. Carmen allows Johnny to be a part of Miguel's rehab, whilst Chozen shows Daniel around, revealing that Mr. Miyagi kept secrets from him. He teaches him a new technique that disables the opponent, making them unable to wage war. Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do continue to fight in and outside of school, with Sam having another panic attack when Tori arrives. Hawk is pressured by his peers to break Dimitri's arm, whilst Johnny takes Miguel to a concert, ending the night with his foot tapping. Taking Kreese's advice, Robby strikes first, not snitching, and earns the respect of his bully. Daniel finishes his training, meeting the little girl he saved all those years ago in Okinawa, who just so happens to work for Diona, helping save his business. Amanda pays a visit to Kreese, slapping him and warning him to stay away, as Johnny finds that Ali replied to his message. Back in the 60s, Kreese joins a special forces team, being taught Tang Soo Do. In present day, he scouts for stronger recruits, many of them Hawk's old bullies, as he gets his revenge. Daniel and Amanda try to get Kreese evicted, but he doesn't budge. During an argument with Johnny, Miguel realizes he's standing unassisted. Johnny works with Miguel until he's walking again, going back to school. Daniel decides to reopen Miyagi-Do, but Sam is frightened of Tori. Johnny looks for a space for a new dojo as Miguel tries to recruit his old Cobra Kai friends. He falls out with Hawk as Daniel helps Sam overcome her fear. Johnny begins his first lesson of Eagle Fang karate, being confronted by Kreese, who offers him one final chance to come back. Robby gets out of juvie, telling both Daniel and Johnny to stay out of his life. Miguel and Sam start to reconnect, becoming friends again. They work together, stopping the All Valley tournament from being cancelled. Robby goes to the Miyagi-Do dojo, finding Miguel and Sam together. Feeling betrayed, he goes to Kreese, joining Cobra Kai. Ali comes home for Christmas, asking Johnny if he wants to grab some lunch. They reminisce, with Ali revealing she's divorced. Daniel spends some time with Miguel, correcting some of the mistakes in the stories Johnny told him. Over time, as Robby is accepted into Cobra Kai, Hawk becomes jealous. Sam and Miguel, on the other hand, try and bring their dojos together to defeat Cobra Kai. At a Christmas party, Daniel and Ali reconnect as all three of them share stories. In the 60s, Kreese and his team, captured after failing a mission, are forced to fight above a pit of snakes. Cobra Kai storm the meeting between dojos and Sam panics again. Daniel and Johnny leave on a fairly positive note as Sam remembers what her father said, standing up to Tori. Seeing his old friends get beaten up, Hawk rethinks, going against Cobra Kai, helping his friend Dimitri, as Miguel, despite not being fully fit, manages to defeat Kyla. Johnny goes to see Carmen, finding Miguel with blood all over him. Angry, he confronts his old sensei, only to find Robby at the dojo. He attacks Kreese, with Robby getting between them. He refuses to fight his son, accidentally hurting him. Kreese takes advantage of the situation, as he also does against his captain after he revealed that Betsy had been killed. He throws him off the edge into the pit, despite the US forces moving in and saving them. Before Kreese can do anything, Daniel arrives, saving Johnny, disabling his opponent. Together, they warn Kreese. He suggests settling things the old-fashioned way. They win the All Valley, he leaves, remembering when he saved his friend Terry Silver, volunteering in his place to face the captain. Kreese calls him up. Meanwhile, at the Miyagi-Do dojo, Johnny and Daniel come together to rid the valley of Cobra Kai.
Let's begin!